I'm going to show you how to make homemade roasted tomato sauce. Super, super easy. So see that basket next to me? That was a bunch of our homegrown tomatoes from our greenhouse that they were still green when we picked them. It was freezing though, so we didn't want to lose them. So we picked them, and just leaving them in the basket for a couple of weeks, they turned red. And the problem was a lot of them were so small, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them until I got this idea. So this is so easy. And if you have a bunch of tomatoes like this, totally make it, because the flavor is phenomenal. You will love it. So first of all, I'm just cutting up an onion here. And any parts that look bad or anything, we put them in our chicken scrap bucket there that I have, and the chickens don't mind it. They will eat whatever. So we just have our ends that we cut off, we keep in there. So as you cut your onions, now I was doing quite a bit, so I did 3 onions. As you cut your onions or peppers or tomatoes, whatever you're going to put in, just toss them right onto a cookie sheet as you're cutting them up. We also had some of these peppers that were given to us from actually a neighbor's garden, and these were originally green peppers. That's how old they were, so they were already starting to turn red, which was fine, but they needed to be used up. So we're going to cut them up. You don't really want seeds, because the seeds will make it spicier. I guess if you want it spicy, then sure, put the seeds in, but the seeds is where all the spice is going to come from. And so for me, I like the flavor more than the spice. So when you put them on your cookie sheet, one important thing is you want to make sure you put it skins up. So we're going to roast these. We're going to do them in broil on your oven. So it's a good idea to get your oven preheating while you're cutting up your vegetables. And make sure all the skins are up, because that's where you're going to get your roasting charred flavor and all that. It's great. So drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top, and then you're going to put some salt. I prefer to have the sea salt, the ones that are a little bit more coarse than you would normally use for cooking, but it's just a personal preference. You can do whatever you want. Once you have that, go ahead and stick it in the oven, put it on broil, so you're going to have it on the top rack, and continue until you are all out of your tomatoes, peppers, onions, whatever you want. So this, like so many things, this is literally just a recipe that's to your taste. So there's no wrong or right way. If you don't like peppers, I'm not a big pepper fan, but I did have those to get used to, or to get rid of. So I have gotten used to them a little bit. But you can do onions. I didn't have any whole garlic, so I'll show you what I did here in just a minute. But anything that you personally like, and you can see we had all these, see how small those tomatoes were. Those normally would have just frozen on our plants and been wasted and no good, but by bringing them inside, they eventually turned red, and now we can make this sauce with them. You don't have to worry about peeling the skins. This is so easy. Literally, all I'm doing is cutting. If there's a stem on it, then I'm cutting the stem off. Some of them didn't even have a stem, so I just cut them in half. And I'm putting them face down. You could put them in whole. I cut them in half just so that they're easy. They don't roll around a lot. But you absolutely could put them in there whole. By roasting them, it's going to accomplish 2 things. So it's going to cook them and make them soft, but it's also going to give a little charred blackness to the skin, and that's where you're going to get some of your amazing flavor when you roast them. So you can do this for spaghetti sauce, for salsa. This roasted tomato sauce can really be used in any way you want it to. Again, get your olive oil. Now this time I kind of coated it with my hand. You can do that. It's not necessary, but you can. And go ahead and put that in broil. Here's what it looks like when they're done. So you can see they've shriveled up because they've cooked a little bit. Some of them have a little black charring. You just want to watch them. And it depends on your oven how hot it cooks, how well it does. You just don't want them too burnt. A little bit of the charring is good. That's going to give you some good flavor, but you don't too much of it, and you'll get a burnt flavor more than a caramelized flavor. If you've ever caramelized anything, that is where a lot of the flavor comes from. Caramelizing basically pulls the sugars from the food out to the surface where they're being cooked. The heat pulls the sugars to the surface of the meat or the vegetable, whatever it is. So that's why when things are caramelized, it pulls out this flavor and sweetness, and it's really good. So now I've got my food processor. I'm just putting in, now I'm using the tongs because I don't want all that olive oil in. It doesn't matter if you get some, but I didn't want it too oily. So I'm kind of dripping off a little bit of the olive oil, and that's it. So basically now, oh, we're going to add our garlic. Okay, because I didn't have fresh garlic to roast with these, I have my handy dandy Costco minced garlic. I love this. Again, this is just to taste. So we love garlic. I put a lot in there. You can always do whatever you want. I also added this, is also from Costco, a wood fire garlic mix, because I figured that would give the smokiness of the garlic that it didn't get while the other things were roasting. That's it. So now it's ready to blend. Again, this is so easy because you can add and subtract and do whatever your flavors you like. If you want more peppers, if you want it spicier, you could add chilies. You could add just really anything that you want. Different types of onions, tomatoes, whatever you want in there. So give it a good blend. Me personally, I like my sauces super smooth. So I check it usually when it's mostly done. This is a great time to do a taste test. Look at the texture. That's just so beautiful. I like mine like this, super smooth. So it's a good time to taste test, see does it need more salt, does it need other seasonings, and oh my goodness, I'll tell you, this is the best homemade sauce you will ever have. And I blended it up a little bit more, and there you go. Bada boom, bada bing. You could put this over pasta. We used it as a dip for quesadillas. So many uses.